Welcome to Whiskey is a Journey. My name is Peter Faciano, and it's time to spin the wheel again. This is my channel segment called Sip It or Skip It. I have all of my whiskeys randomized on my phone. I'm going to spin the wheel. Whatever it selects, I'm going to pull it off the shelf, give it a quick review, and then let you guys know if I'm going to keep sipping on the bottle until it's gone and replace it, or once the bottle's gone, I'm going to skip it and move on to something else. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel today and see what we're doing. Let's see if I can see this without my glasses. We're doing Tamdhu 15. This was actually part of my top 5 beginner scotches part 3. And by the time I reviewed that, it's really past the beginner scotches. But let me go ahead and pull this off the shelf, pour it, and give it a quick review. Tamdhu 15. This is a sherry bomb. This is also going to be showing up in a top 5 sherry bomb scotch video. I believe it's probably going to come out in July sometime. I can already smell the sherry. All right, Tamdhu 15. Even before I smell it, it's coming out of the bottle, it's coming out of the glass. I have those really dark, rich red fruits. Oh, on the nose, this is amazing. In the past couple of months, maybe in the last 6 months or so, I'm really starting to like sherried whiskeys a lot. Sweetness, malt, the sweetness that I get are those red fruits, and even borderline those dark fruits like raisins, figs, and dates. A little bit of plum. I would actually say more towards the golden raisins than the dark raisins. And the casks that they're using for this sherry, I believe it's Oloroso. Whether it's Oloroso or PX, Pedro Jimenez, is fantastic. Highly suggest grab a bottle of scotch or grab a bottle that's been finished in Oloroso or Pedro Jimenez. Let me know in the comments below if you guys are sherry bomb whiskey drinkers as well. I'd be curious to see how many of you guys out there are on Team Sherry or Team X Bourbon. And it's okay to be both. You can be both. All right, let's get this thing on the palate. Sugary raisins, figs, dates, red fruits, red apple. I wouldn't say any cherry. I know cherry is a red fruit. I don't think there's cherry notes in here at all. There is a hefty amount of sweetness along with the malt. Anytime you're getting into scotch, there's definitely going to be that malt note. I don't think this would be a gateway scotch going from a bourbon lover to a scotch. I think there's too much malt in here that a bourbon drinker would not like, especially if you're sensitive to malt. There really is a good amount of vanilla along with some honey sweetness, but the dominant note and the dominant flavors on the palate are the dark, rich fruits. 15 years of age. I know this is a rather expensive single malt. It's natural color and it's also non-chill filtered. And I think when you're pouring an age-stated scotch, I think the rule of thumb is to let it sit or air out for a minute for every year that's in the cask. So for this one, it would have to be around 15 minutes or so. And I think the same thing can be true for bourbons as well. I would say with any whiskey, if there's an age statement on it, let it rest for a little bit, let it open up, and then go into it. It's been a little while since I've taken a sip, and I would say that this finish is going to be medium to long. The sweetness of those dark fruits linger. That malt is radiating. It just sticks around. It knows, you absolutely know you're drinking a scotch. And with the amount of dark fruits that I'm getting in here, I think Tamdhu really does a good job with their cask management. It's almost to the point where I think that there still may have been a little bit of sherry in these barrels when they put the whiskey in, or the spirit, because it's not whiskey until it gets put into the barrel, correct? So it wouldn't surprise me if those staves that they used to construct these barrels still had a little bit of sherry in them, because the sherry influence is strong in this bottle. All right, let's go ahead and get to that last sip, and then I'll let you guys know if this is going to be a sip or a skip officially. So here's an experience that I don't necessarily always talk about. When you're bringing the glass up to your mouth to take a sip, as you're going to drink it or get it onto the palate, as you're breathing in, it gives you a different note than if you were to just put it on your nose and smell. There's something about the vapors that are in your mouth that kind of rotate around into your nose and to your mouth. It gives it a little bit of a different note. So as you're tasting and smelling, pay attention to that little transition from liquid in the glass to liquid in the mouth. There's a good amount of barrel influence here that lingers on and on and on. All of those red fruits are really good. And even though this is a pricey Scotch, once this bottle is gone, I'm going to replace it. This is going to be a sip for me. And I like it so much, I would actually forego other whiskeys or other Scotches that are similar to this at a lower price. So once those bottles are gone, I'll probably not buy those and I will rebuy this. Tamdhu also makes a cask strength, and the cask strength of the one that I have for that one is the 2022 version, and it ranks up there with this as well. And I actually think I would prefer this one, the 15-year, over the cask strength release. And I'm going to double check. I think the cask strength is less expensive than this. This was $139, and the cask strength and the 2022 release cask strength was $114. So this one's coming in at 57.5%, and then the ABV on the 15 was 46%. So even though this is more expensive and this is higher ABV, typically speaking, the higher ABVs are a little bit more flavorful. I would prefer the 15 over the cask strength. So that's all I have for you guys today. Do me a favor, let me know in the comments down below if you're familiar with Tamdhu. Like, subscribe, share, do all those things that YouTubers ask you to do. And until next time, enjoy your journey. We'll talk to you later. Bye.